At the time of its release, MK9 blew my mind with its creativity, design, and new forms of 7th gen era graphical gore. Retrospectively, NRS have outdone the finishing moves in this game through the ones they made for MK11 and MK1. However, MK9s, even today, are no slouch. In addition to fatalities, MK9 has a sweet suite of babalities and brutal stage fatalities. You're watching Rayl Deal Games, and in this video, I'll be ranking every finishing move, every fatality, every stage fatality, and every babality from worst to best. There are 115 of these suckers, so I won't have something to say for each and every one, and instead of wasting all of your guys' time, I'll keep my interjections and comments relegated to those finishing moves that I've got something substantive or interesting to say something about. I've thought hard about this ranking, so I'm confident in the order of these finishing moves. As you all watch the video, leave a comment or two telling me where we differ on some of these. With all of that established, let's dive right in. Number 115. I've always disliked this Cage fatality. I know what NRS was going for with this by playing into Cage's stardom and narcissism, but they do this aspect of Cage's characterization through his fatalities far better in 11 and 1. Whenever I play this game, this is the last finishing move I ever consider doing. Number 114. I said in my Deception Fatalities ranking video that I've never liked fart jokes, even when I was a kid, and that's the main reason I'm not a big fan of Smoke's babality. I love the return of babalities in this game, and they are far better than they were in their original MK2 iteration. However, many of them do make up the weaker parts of this game's suite of finishing moves. That being said, some babalities are going to be quite high up on this list. Number 113.
Shiva wins. Babality.
Number 112.
Milena wins. Babality.
Number 111. The quick crawl Cabal does here is a nice reference to his speedy abilities, but beyond that I actually find this one to be too similar to the previous two for me to like it all too much. Number 110.
Sindel wins. Fatality.
Number 109.
Reptile wins.
Number 108.
Reptile wins.
Number 107. I've never been a big fan of these types of explosion fatalities, especially from older MK titles, because it feels they're missing something without the added detail of viscera and bits flying everywhere, something that later NRS titles would remedy. Number 106. Considering what I just said about these explosion finishing moves, Rain's water balloon is highest placed among them because of the added detail of the water draining down the victim's throat, filling them up like a vase overfilled. It's a cool added effect that, while it doesn't make this one of the best fatalities in the game, does make it better than the rest in its archetype. Number 105. If there's something I do like about the babalities in this game, it's the way they implement each character's power or personality. Sub-Zero falling on his own frozen pea is a great way of utilizing his freezing power, although I do prefer Cyber Sub-Zero's version by a significant margin. Number 104.
Sindel wins. Fatality.
Number 103. Cyrax in Trilogy and Gold does this type of self-destruct fatality far better than Cyber Sub. I do wonder if we'll ever see a return of Cyber Sub at some point, because I would be interested in seeing if this fatality could be redone in a better way. Number 102.
Jax wins. Fatality.
Number 101.
Sonya wins.
Number 100.
Liu Kang wins. Babality.
Number 99.
Sonya wins. Babality.
Number 98.
Nightwolf wins. wins. Fatality.
Number 97.
Jax wins. Fatality.
Number 96.
Kung Lao wins. Fatality.
Number 95. This Shang Tsung Fatality is a remade version of one of Joker's from vs. DC. Considering the biggest controversy regarding vs. DC was its lack of blood and gore, I do love that NRS made up for that game's blunder a little bit here. Number 94. Guest character finishing moves need to reference their characters and their actions and abilities from their original properties, whether those be films or games. In this Kratos Fatality, he uses the Medusa Head spell and Nemean Cestus to reduce his opponent to rubble, which makes this a decent enough reference to God of War 3. At this point in Sony's history, they only cared about their recent Golden Geese and not their older history, which is why the cast of PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale looks the way it does. This is why Kratos' appearance in this game is so loaded with God of War 3 moves, as that game came out 11 months prior to MK9. Number 93.
Quan Chi wins. Fatality.
Number 92.
Cyrax wins. Fatality.
Number 91.
Secto wins. Fatality.
Number 90. I'd be lying if I said the sound of Jade's boomerang smacking against her head didn't make me laugh and cringe at the same time. Babies' heads are extremely soft, so this one, like many of the others, would be instantly fatal for an infant. Number 89. NRS was onto something by integrating X-rays into the stage fatality of the busy street stage. This is something they would iterate upon again in MKX with the way they would have X-rays transition into brutalities like with Tremor. I like this fatality for the way it lays the foundation for better things down the line, but on its own, it is pretty weak. The best part for me is the way the fatalized body twitches after losing their head. Number 88.
Kitana wins. Fatality.
Number 87. This is another example of NRS playing around with the idea of mixing X-ray moves and fatalities. I do like the way the enemy spasms in a funky way after their brain has been ground to mush. Number 86. Goro playing patty cake with himself and crying when he slaps himself in the face is a much better approach to a Shokan babality than Shiva's stomping temper tantrum. Number 85.
Scorpion wins.
Number 84. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of NRS's iteration of Smoke, and I'm not a big fan of his finishing moves. I can definitely see how others might like both of his fatalities, and I would agree that they are better than anything he's had before. Cyber Smoke is just the best iteration of the character, and I would have preferred to have that in this game. Number 83.
Smoke wins.
Number 82. This finishing move gives me, much like the victim, a massive throbbing headache at times, so I don't like using it all too often. However, it would be wrong to say this isn't a good one for Sindel. Number 81.
Striker wins.
Number 80. It is a nice touch that Reptile's babality starts with him in an egg. I do like unique animations and assets and finishing moves, and if this one had a little bit extra to it, it would be much, much higher. Number 79.
Raiden wins. Fatality.
Number 78.
Goro wins.
Number 77.
Cabal wins.
Number 76.
Kitana wins.
Number 75.
Nightwolf wins.
Number 74.
Rayl wins. Fatality.
Number 73. Number 72. Number 71. Scarlet slakes her thirst on the blood of her enemies, and considering this is her first appearance in the franchise, this fatality does well to fit in with her gore-fueled theme. A baby's gotta eat if they're going to grow up strong after all. Number 70. I want to meet the genius who thought to make Kentaro act like a cat for this fatality. Kentaro is one of the most underutilized classic MK characters, and it's crazy to me that NRS have represented Goro and Shiva so well while leaving Kentaro behind, unused. It's possible they don't know how to differentiate between him and Goro, which to be fair would be tough for me too, but I'm sure there's plenty of unthought of design space for fighters with 4 arms. Number 69. Every time I see Baby Striker with a gun, I cringe, not from embarrassment, not as in this babality is cringy, but in the sense that I'm disconcerted. Baby Striker's ears are completely melted as a result of this gunshot sound. Number 68. The best part of this finishing move is the flopping tongue, sliding against the lower remaining jaw. The camera's close up on the gaping wound adds to the striking nature of this finishing move too. Number 67.
Kenji wins. Fatality.
Number 66. The victim's face bouncing against the side of the train before being thrown into an oncoming one is a great way of remixing the classic subway fatality. Armageddon's version of this stage fatality is great as well, but I would put MK9's at the top of the 3 versions of subway death traps. Number 65. Yeah!
Jade wins.
Number 64.
Scorpion wins.
Number 63.
Sub-Zero wins.
Number 62. It's a nice detail to have Kano's metal eye stay the same size as his body shrinks, and I also love the way Kano starts out being his normal, arrogant self, before quickly devolving into a crying fit once he falls over. Babies can hardly hold their heads up, so Kano's neck here would likely actually snap, but we can forget that long enough to laugh at the misfortune of a crime syndicate leader. Number 61.
Freddy wins.
Freddy is a great inclusion to the combat cast in this game, and I do like the way his fatalities reference his films. Freddy resides in a dream boiler room, so having a fatality that references the burning origin of his demonic dream is a must for his character. The subtle snicker as Freddy waves his victim goodbye is a brilliant touch too, adding to his characterization. He pleasures in pain and suffering, and considering the limited opportunities to reference that through Freddy's gameplay-centric place in the game, this detail matters a lot. Number 60.
Sector wins.
Number 59. Kratos kills so many powerful beings with the Sword of Olympus, so including it in this game through a fatality was always going to be a must. Number 58. This fatality is one of 2 canonical ones in the entire game. Liu Kang uses this on Shao Kahn in MK9's campaign after he kills Kung Lao. Only Shao Kahn with the assistance of Quan Chi would ever be able to survive this flaming fist though. Number 57. The metal design of Liu Kang's dragon in this game is unique, but I do prefer the green scaled look.
Liu Kang wins.
Number 56. Portals snapping shut on flesh as a form of killing is one of my favorites. I liked it in Avengers Infinity War when Doctor Strange severs Thanos' general's hand off, and I like it when Noob does it in this fatality too. Number 55. Number 54.
Kenji wins.
Number 53. I decided to rank all three versions of this stage fatality as one, since separating them would put them all lower on the list for me. Separately, they are not super impressive, but the way the player gets to choose between them does make them more interesting, adding variety whenever the stage is chosen. Number 52.
Freddy wins.
A Nightmare on Elm Street nearly bankrupted New Line Cinema just as they were getting started, but instead the film was the first major building block in a cinema empire. The creative kills combined with the unique premise is the reason why this film became so successful. And my favorite kill in this movie, and possibly the whole franchise, is the way Freddy kills Glenn by dragging him into his own bed, spawning an explosion of blood and viscera from the hole in the middle of the mattress. I would have been crazy disappointed if this kill didn't show up in one of his finishing moves. I do kind of wish his prime time kill from the third film would have been in here somewhere too. Starting in MKX brutalities would afford NRS more chances to reference famous scenes from the films and games their DLC characters originally come from, and I can only imagine which ones they would have included for Freddy if brutalities had been in MK9. Number 51.
Baraka wins. Fatality.
Number 50. Pit stage fatalities are always good, and I love this one as well. I would have preferred if the spikes were straight instead of curved, but that is hardly reason enough for this stage fatality to not be in the top third for this game. Number 49. Number 48. Rain breaking his opponent down at the knees with constricting compressed water is the part of this fatality that lands it so high up on this list. The high pressured water blade finishing off Rain's victim is a nice touch, demonstrating Rain's mastery over water well. Number 47. I said it back when I talked about Sub-Zero's Babality, but I much prefer Cyber Sub's Babality's implementation of his freezing prowess over his human counterparts. Number 46. Cabal is the original hook sword master, and this fatality with the way he fishes out his victim's guts with the hooked ends of his blades demonstrates his mastery and makes this the best hook sword based finishing move in the franchise, at least until his return in MK11. Number 45. This is a remake of one of Jade's first fatalities from her trilogy days, and the added touch of her staking the victim's head to the top of her staff really adds to the overall presentation of this finishing move. Number 44.
Ermac wins. Fatality.
Number 43. This is the second fatality in this game that is somewhat canonical. Nightwolf uses the daggers to direct the heavenly light to his opponent, and they do a great job at channeling the burning divine light. In the main story, Nightwolf has to do this himself in order to kill Sindel, sacrificing himself in the process. Number 42. Scarlet gets stronger through the blood she absorbs through her skin, and it is obvious how much the blood pleases her with the way she shakes her head under the bloodstream. Number 41. I love me a good classic Scorpion Skull finishing move, and this version is quite good. Number 40. Nothing is creepier than demon babies in horror films, and Freddy plays the part quite well here.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
Number 39. Mileena without a face-eating fatality of some kind just isn't a good Mileena in my book. This fatality was a must from the instant she was planned to be on the cast.
Mileena wins.
Number 38. This is a great combination of Jax's two MK2 fatalities. NRS tried their best to represent the classic finishing moves for each character on the cast, and they did a great job doing so with fatalities like this. Number 37. If there's one thing Scarlet likes more than a bit of blood on the face, it's a literal bloodbath. The best part of this one is the way it shows Scarlet's ability to solidify coagulated blood into a state as hard as steel, an aspect of her abilities that will appear again in MK11. Number 36. Shaolin Monks is the first game to confirm that the trees in the living forest can and will eat flesh, and the inclusion of that stage fatality in this game is great. Number 35.
Kintaro wins.
Number 34.
Kratos wins.
Kratos had been a PlayStation mainstay since his first appearance in 2005. I love his inclusion in the PS3 version of this game. The idea of him ripping the head off of a stuffed Medusa doll is fantastic and consistent with the character. He is also one of the only 5 characters in this game who don't cry with tears or out of duress during their babality, and this fits his character well. However, I do wonder if this was a concession made for Sony exclusivity, since they might not want their uber masculine mascot crying like a babe. Number 33. The lava spilling out of the victim's eyes is the best part of this stage fatality, and the subtle way the fatalized screams stop as soon as the lava burns through their vocal cords is a fantastic touch. Number 32. Baby Scorpion's little "get over here" is what lands this one in a place so high up on this list. Number 31.
Shao Kahn wins.
Number 30. Sub-Zero's spine rip is probably the most iconic Mortal Kombat fatality of all time, and every version of it is a winner. If this fatality weren't so common, and if the classic fatalities received just a dash of creativity, this one would have made the top 10 for sure. Number 29.
Kung Lao wins.
Number 28. Ermac getting this fatality instead of Jax, even though it was originally Jax's in MK3, is a great change, and the way Ermac wipes the bloody mess from the bottom of his shoe is a fun touch too.
Fatality.
Number 27.
Shao Kahn wins. Fatality.
This Shao Kahn fatality shows up in one of the promotional commercials for this game, where he rips Raiden in half. This finishing move matches Shao Kahn's personality perfectly, because if someone were to get in his way, he would walk right through them before considering going around. Number 26. The slow progression of the acid eating away at the victim's body is why the Deadpool stage fatality places so high up on this list for me.
Shiva wins. Fatality.
Number 25. I'm always going to love Cage's classic fatality, so it is fitting that this would round out my top 25 for this game. Number 24.
Mileena wins.
This is actually originally Kira's in Deception, but Mileena does the fatality far more justice than its original iteration. Number 23.
Kitana wins.
Number 22. Imagine if you had to watch your own heart pop before your eyes right before dying. If there's anything in this game that shows Kano's brutality, it's this finishing move. Number 21.
Cyrax wins.
Number 20.
Shang Tsung wins.
Liu Kang may have done this better in Deception, but Shang Tsung does this fatality pretty good justice with his version. Number 19. Just like Jax, this Cage fatality is a combination of two of his MK2 ones. Number 18.
Baraka wins.
Number 17.
Baraka wins.
Number 16. I always imagine Shiva saying quit hitting yourself while doing this fatality, and the clap at the end is what seals the deal for me.
Shiva wins. Fatality.
Number 15. This one was actually used by Scorpion on Sub-Zero in one of the trailers leading up to this game's release, but it is far more fitting that this one be one of Kano's finishing moves. Number 14. Shang Tsung stealing the soul from a teddy bear is one of the best fatalities in the entire franchise, and the way he is clearly plotting afterwards fits Shang Tsung's characterization perfectly as well. Number 13.
Cyrax wins.
This is possibly a stretch, but my first thought upon seeing this finishing move is that it's likely a reference to the Predator's net in Predator 2. It wouldn't be the first time Boone and his team referenced Predator in MK, and there's a reason the Predator would become a guest character in MKX. Number 12.
Ermac wins.
Number 11.
Goro wins. Fatality.
This finishing move and the next are both revisions of one of Goro's from Deception. I love both of these, and if the top 10 weren't so stacked already, this Goro one would have rounded out the top 10 for this video. I just happened to like Kentaro's version of this fatality a bit better. Number 10.
Kentaro wins. Fatality.
Number 9.
You suck!
Quan Chi wins. Babality.
Shao Kahn's babality is the second best in the game, and his confidence lasting despite his small stature is a major reason why. Even as a baby, Shao Kahn doesn't stop mocking the player. Number 8. I love unique assets and effects and finishing moves, and while small, the screen cracking effect and sliding eyeball are both things I love about this one, setting it apart from others in this game.
Kenshi wins.
Number 7. Every man feels this finishing move whenever they see it for the first time, and even though this is a remake of the original Shaolin Monk's Buzzsaw fatality, it is still one of the best ones this game has to offer. Number 6. Shiva's MK3 skin rip fatality is one of my favorites from that game, so it is on brand that I would love the remade version of it in MK9 as well. In fact, because I played MK9 well before I ever played MK3, this version of the fatality is why I love it so much. Number 5. The best babality in the game and the finishing move that rounds out the top 5 for this ranking video is Noob Saibot's babality. Even though the last time I executed this babality myself was over a decade ago, I imagine Noob still falling and screaming, and he'll likely stay that way forever.
Wins. Babality.
Number 4. No crow would ever mess with Sector's crops with a few scarecrows like this dotting his homestead. It's perfectly believable Sector would design something like this as well. Number 3. If you pay close attention, you can see the frozen spikes that have formed at the base of the victim's wounds, and the way Sub-Zero fails to rip off his opponent's top the first time means those spikes rendered what remained of their guts full of holes, making this one of Sub-Zero's best finishing moves in the entire franchise. Number 2. Putting Make-A-Wish in second place was tough, and the only reason it didn't get the number 1 place is that my number 1 pick for this game is the best fatality in the entire franchise. Make-A-Wish is probably in my top 10 for the franchise, but being in the top 10 and being the best is a pretty big distinction. Number 1. And my pick for the best fatality in MK9 is Quan Chi's leg beatdown. This fatality, both versions, is the best the franchise has ever seen as well, but even with that in mind, it was a tough pick between this and Make-A-Wish for my pick of number 1. I honestly don't know if this finishing move will ever be topped, as nothing in MKX, 11, or 1 has managed to do so for me at this point in time.
Quan Chi wins. Fatality.
And that's the video, my guys. What's your favorite finishing move for Mortal Kombat 9? Let me know in the comments section below, and while you're there, please smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so as to not miss out on future Rayl Deal Gaming videos. And if you have a moment right now, consider watching one of my other videos on the screen. Regardless of what you choose to do, have an awesome day, gamers.